students to the second week. Inshallah, we will start our lecture number 2 in this video. And then in the background, before we can start the work, let me quickly, create a new I shift control shift P, and then I say Flutter, new project, and then I say I want to click and build an application, and then here let me put it on the desktop. Not the desktop. On the desktop, I create a folder IS487, and then inside I am putting another folder which is the week 02. Okay, so that we can know that in which week we have developed which software. So we select this, and then it is telling me that. So I will just say that. Lecture 02 dash or underscore week 02 uh, class underscore demo. So I will just press enter, and in the background it is going to create that application for me. And then I can also do one more thing here. No devices, so enable web. Do we have okay? I mean, still it is trying to build that. Would you like to recommend the VS Code settings dot? Yes, I want to use that. Don't need to go there. And then let me check again devices. So let me start, because this device, which is the virtual device, it is. I got my laptop yesterday back from the Huawei, and then I just configured everything last night. So you can see that. So now it is also getting in the start mode. So the project is ready. So let's go back to the slides and then continue. So everything inside the Flutter application is a widget. So you talk about the material application on the top, or you talk about a scaffold. It is also a widget. Inside the scaffold, you can have the application bar, you can have the body of actual contents of that application which are visible to the user, or you can talk about a floating button, or you have a slide drawer that is appear on this left side of the screen, or many other things. Whatever you can see on the screen, that is a widget. Even there are some parts of the application which are not visible on the screen, but they are being used to organize different type of the elements, the visual elements or UI elements inside a specific format or layout. So they are not visible to the user, but they are still there, and they are also. So everything that you can imagine inside this application, the Flutter is a widget. And then, of course, we can also say there are a few things which are the classes which are in the background working, doing some works. They are not widgets, but this is a paradigm that is everybody is saying that in the Flutter everything is a widget. So which is visible on the screen, okay? Which actually related to the layout, okay? UI, user interface. So we have a building blocks of the API that is called the widget, immutable declaration of the part of the UI. So the part of that widget which is visible on the screen, like its color, its size, and its the contents inside it, they are immutable. Immutable mean once you have created that thing, after that you cannot change the values, you cannot change the things. And if you want to change the values, it means that you want to recreate that specific widget. So you delete that previous version of that widget, or for example button. Okay, so you delete that button from your memory or from the screen, and then you recreate it. And then when you recreate it, so it will recreate with the new properties and the new values or that you want to change. Okay, so immutable. Once it is created, no change will occur in that specific UI element. Describe all aspects of the UI, physical aspects or the layout aspects. Physical aspects are those aspects which are visible to the user, with the user can interact. And then we also have, as I told you, we are some layout widgets which are related to the layout of those elements, which are visible to the user. They are not visible, but they are also there. They contain that. And then we have a hierarchy based. Right on top, we have the material application, and then material application can contain the scaffold. The scaffold contain the application bar or the body and the floating board. Inside the body, we can also have some other elements that I want to show in that page. So, okay, so this is a hierarchy based composition. So this is one an example of the composition. You can say that we have a material on top. So it is a tree-based structure. So material contain everything. And inside the material application, we have the scaffold. Inside the scaffold, we have three different components: app bar, body, and floating. And of course, there are other as well. For example, the side drawer, it is also part of the scaffold. So it will come down here and at this level. And then inside the body, again, we have a center. Inside the center, we have a column. Inside the column, we have the text and text. And if you look at that, the body is a property of the scaffold which we are assigning. So this is center, column. They are the layout components, that where the element, these two text elements, where they are going to be displayed in the center of the screen, and they will be displayed on top of each other in a vertical direction. So that is a column. So they are also the widget, but they are not visible to the user. But on the other hand, these text values, they are visible to the user, and user can interact with that. Floating point is a floating action button is also visible to the user. User can interact with it. Application bar, right on the top, we have an application bar. It is also visible to the user. User can interact with that. Okay, so there are some elements, especially the layout elements or layout widgets, they are not visible to the user, but they help to organize the visual elements in a proper format or the layout. Okay, so inside the scaffold board, scaffold material design visual layout structure, scaffold it is, and then it can have the application bar, it can have the body, it can have the bottom navigation bar, it can have the bottom sheet, it can have a drawer, end drawer, floating action button. So it can have multiple elements which exist, and that one scaffold, it represents the one screen that you can see on your on your mobile device. So if we talk about the application bar, focus on describing the current page and provide 1 to 2 essential actions. Okay. So again, we don't want to put everything or overwhelm that application bar and put a lot of things. So we one or two. For example, on the left side you have a menu icon. When you click on that, it will open up the drawer from the left side, and when you click and then it will close it down. So we can use that one, or we can show the title of that screen that is currently visible to the user on that application bar. On the right side, maybe we have a drop down menu in which we have more action that can be performed, but we don't want to overwhelm that application bar with the multiple things, a lot of things inside it. Okay, display labels and the page navigation controls. For example, you from the main page you go to the next page, you can always give the back button over there. When you click on that, it will automatically bring you back. Definitely we will see when we will see when we will start developing the application for the multiple screens or multiple pages. Again, we can different types. We can do something like this. This is the first one is a search application bar. This is a small bar. This is a medium flexible where we have the a little bit bigger rather than only one single element. So we have multiple things here. Large flexible. So again, so we have different type of the application bar which exist, and then we based on our requirement or the application style, we can use them. If you look at the application bar, actually it contains, number one, it is a container. So this is the container in which that application bar is coming. Then we have a heading, which is more like a title that we want to display on that page. And then we have a trailing action. Trailing action icon is more like this. And on this one, you can have something like this. So for example, you want to display two actions, and then you click on this one, and then it will open a drop-down menu. And then in that drop-down menu, you have more actions. And then we can also have a leading icon. Leading icon is something which you can if you click on that, it will bring out the drawer. If you this is a navigation one. If you are go to the next page and you want to come back to the previous page, then you click on that, it will bring you back to the previous page. And if you want to learn more about that, then of course you can click on that link, and then it will take you to the detailed documentation, and then you can learn about more about this. So that is about the bar. The next thing is the navigation bar. So we can also have a navigation bar right on the bottom side of the where normally we don't put four, maximum five. So these are the possibilities that we should have, that we should not have more than four or five action items or the that we want to display in that action bar. So it contains 3 to 5 destinations of the equal importance. It means that we want to navigate to the home page, or we want to go to the music page, or we want to go to the podcast page, or I mean a browser or browse or radio and library. So we can move between different pages or the screens which exist in our application. So as you know, the navigation, so we are navigating between different pages or different screens inside our app. So we can show that application, that navigation bar at the bottom of the page, and then we can move around using that navigation. We also have the navigation drawer, which is coming from the left side, you know. So it is a standard navigation drawer, and then we have a model navigation drawer. So normally we are using this one, which is the second one, model navigation, which is more standard now, rather than having the full screen to show that drawer. Okay, so this is also a possibility. We can draw that thing inside using the scaffold class or scaffold widget. And if we look at the details of that one, so we have a container again inside the container, which actually contain the whole navigation drawer. And then right on top, we have the heading. And then after that, we can have multiple action things that we want to show inside that navigation drawer. And then again, it can using that, we can move between different pages and the screens which exist in our application. So, any questions so far, students? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, doctor.
Yeah,
You
all
can
clear.
hear me. So everything is clear. Okay. So,
Yes.
then we also have the bottom sheet that we can add over there. We can also have the floating action button that we have already seen in the first lecture. So let me stop that thing here, and then let me bring you into this one, and then I just try to stop that thing, and then I say that I want to do that, and I don't want to do anything else, but I want to make sure that we have this. So right now, if I open my lib, and then I can click on this button, and if you look at the bottom of this page, you know the VS Code, or the right bottom status bar, you can see that the application or the device that we have selected, when I click on that, it will start running this application on the device that we have selected here, which is visible here. If you look at that, we have 4 different devices which are connected in this. We can connect with the Chrome, we can connect with the Edge, we can also develop the Windows desktop application. But right now we have selected this Android virtual device. So I click on that, and then if I click on this button, then it will start running that thing inside this application. So I will just quickly bring up the one more thing, Chrome. Okay, I want to run the Chrome application, and I just say that okay, and let me bring up that tab here. So here, I just write Flutter, uh, and then we say scaffold. I mean, I just want to open that scaffold class for me. So if you look at that, this is the documentation that where is that gone? Yeah, here. So it is actually coming API, application programming interface. If I click on that, it will open up that scaffold class for me. And if you look at that, the class, here it give me a different type of, you know, the examples and all the things, sample code. You can also test your things here. I mean, if I just go down, you know, we have different type of example codes. They also give you the example. You can run and test it. The main thing that which is I am interested here to look at here is this constructor. Okay, this is the constructor of this class. And in this constructor, we can set all these properties. I mean, look at that application bar. So if you want to specify the application bar, so it should be a preferred side widget, or should be an application bar. And then if I just try to click, let me click one more thing, app bar again. Flutter. So it will also give me the documentation for the application bar. So now you can see that I can show the leading icon. I can show the title of that title in that application bar. I can also show some what you can say that the icons at the end of the application bar. Okay, so and we can if it is a flexible, then we can have, rather than have only one row, we can have multiple, we can have a bigger one. And then again here we need to concentrate on the application. Where is the constructor here? In the constructor here. So here we say leading widget. Again, that's a widget. We will show the icon here. We have the title value that we need to display here. We can have some actions and all that kind of a stuff. So we can specify these things. So let me quickly go back to the and then open up this one. It's still working, still trying to, because we are running that application for the first time. So it will take a little bit longer time before it can be done. So now, where is my constructor for the scaffold? Yeah, here it is. Okay. So if you look at that, it is, everything is included inside the curly brackets. And then inside the curly brackets mean these parameters that we need to, when we are creating the scaffold object, these parameters are optional. We may provide and may not provide. And I will just show you once it is running the application, then it will be much more easier to show you that what I am talking about. Okay. So let's wait for some time back before our application is still working. Fetch remote repository, trying to find download few tools so that it can build the things accordingly and then run that application inside this Android device. Because if I can show you the Android Studio, then it will be much more, you know, Android Studio. It is coming up on my other screen, of course. So once it will come over there, I will show you here. So why it is going up? Let me, anyway, so let me click on the SDK manager. And again, it is coming on the, why it is too much big. Okay, let me close it down because I can't see. Cancel. Can I make it a little bit smaller? Yeah, it is coming down. I'm just trying to, then I need this one. Yeah, it is coming up. So now if you look at that, this is the what you can say that this is a SDK platform. So it is by default use the latest platform, that is Android 16 Baklava. And then if you look at that, we did not selected these NDKs and the CMake and the other things. Remember? In the class, I show you that we need to specify, and you also need to specify. So this when we are first time running this application in the Android device, is actually automatically going into that SDK manager, because we have configured only this thing, the command line tools. So now the Flutter is going inside and making all these changes. So now it has selected these things, and then show if I show the details, it selected these things, and then add more things inside that. If I just do that, it will add more things inside that SDK manager. Okay, and it actually download more things. So that's why when you are running for the first time, it takes a little bit longer time. So now once it is done, I can work with that basic application. And now rather than I use this one, you know I use this one, I want to create my own application. Okay, what I can do, I can come down here inside the our project files, And then here under the library, I am right click on that and I want to create a uh, folder. I call it pages. And then inside the pages, we can say our first page. So I can create a new file. I say first underscore page dot and then I can create. So because this specific what you let me make it a stateless STL. Yeah, STL. So it is bringing me these things is coming from our Flutter widget, Flutter extension that we have installed inside the Visual Studio Code. So it is telling me that do you want to create a stateless widget or you stateful widget? We will talk about later on, but let's create a stateless widget, and then we can give our it first page. And then inside the first page, we don't have anything. And then we have the placeholder. Placeholder mean it will just try to finish that thing. So now let me go back here. We this is our main function. So whenever we are running the application, it will start executing this main function. And then inside we have only one thing, run the application. And then we are creating this my app as a constant. So we are creating that object of this my app, which is again a stateless widget, and we are running and inside we have a build method. Whenever we have a widget, we have to override this build method. And if we don't override the build method, for example, if I just try to make it a comment, look, missing concrete implementation of the abstract class. If you want to make a widget, then it must implement the or override the build method. So let me do that. And now rather than I am creating the application like which is visible right now inside our Android virtual device, I will ask that create this first page. Okay, so I will just say that first page, and now you can see that it is telling me that I need to import that file. I want to create that one. So I just press enter. It automatically imported that file which we have just created inside our project. And it is say that because it does not accept any parameter, because this is the case here. If you look at that, this is our class, and then it is also extend the stateless widget, and inside the constructor we are not receiving anything because we have not declared anything inside the class. So that's why we are not receiving anything we don't want. So once I do that, look at that. Our scaffold, that which represent the whole screen, is replaced by that application is replaced by the placeholder. So this is actually a placeholder. So now if I just change that thing, the scaffold rather than the placeholder. Again, this scaffold class is coming from the material.dart library. When I press enter, it will create that. And when I save it, now you can see that it has replaced that scaffold. So this is a scaffold. And we did not specify anything inside the scaffold. When we want to create that scaffold, we did not specify, we did not give any kind of the what you can say. So that's why if you look at that, here we have the what you can say that curly bracket start and the curly brackets end. So here we can say that these parameters are by default none, or the null values they are has been assigned to it, and we are not required to provide the values. So if I say give some values, it is my discretion. It is as a programmer, I can decide what I want to show and what I don't want to show. So again, if I say that I want to show an application bar, then we have an app bar property that we need to do. And then we have app. Again, I start with the capital A because I know that this is a new application bar, that app bar that I want to show. So app bar, and then inside, if I do that, now look at that, it is giving me the error message. Okay, so constructor being called is not a constructor. Okay, so where I want to create a new application bar. So what are the problems? If I just go back to my other application, so you can see that I create an application bar, but I need to specify certain properties. Okay, what are those properties? Let's go back to the application bar documentation and see what are the properties. Okay, where are the values? App bar. So we can, again, we are starting with the curly bracket, and then we are having the closing curly brackets. Okay. And because we are not specifying anything, create a material design app bar. And in according to this thing, we have to specify certain properties, especially the title. If you look at the title, is should be okay. So let me go back and see what the problem is. Okay, so it is saying me that removing constant from the removing constant because we are changing the values inside the scaffold. Inside the scaffold we are changing the values, so that's why it is asking me that you remove that constant, because now it is not constant, we are giving some values inside. So when I do that and save it again, there is nothing compulsory inside it, and as soon as I save thing, it is automatically let me refresh it. Okay, so you can see that it does not show me anything on it right now. Okay, but I can specify the title, and then I can say that the title should be, it is a text, because now if I look at that, I am saying inside that constructor, I am giving the value for the title property. So title property colon, and now I need to give the value. And if I look into the documentation, this is the title value. This is a title. For this title, I need to provide a widget. So widget. Again, this text, capital text. Again, this text is a widget which has been defined in the material dot dart, and I press enter. And now inside the text, if I open the text documentation, let me open text and Flutter. So this is the first widgets. Yeah. So I just want to open this one. So now this is the text class, okay? And then again, if I just go down there inside its constructor, and now you can see that I need to provide the data. I need to provide one string, which is a compulsory parameter. But after that, every parameter which is written inside this constructor is inside the curly brackets. It means they are optional. You provide the value or not. But for this parameter, which is a string data, I have to provide the value, which should be a string. So if I just give here like a string here, data, or maybe I can say our change the value as a first page. And as soon as I save it, let me go to the, yeah. So now you can see that I can see my, of course, that background color is the same as the scaffold, and that's why it's not visible for us. So what I can do here, I can also change the background color. For example, we also have the colors class, which is already exists inside the material library. And then I can say anything. For example, blue color. Okay. Now you can see that my scaffold become that application bar becomes blue. So do you understand? So if I look at the hierarchy inside the we main class, we run the application, and this is our application that we are running. And inside this application, we created a material application. And inside the material application, we specified three different values. One is a title, the other one is a theme, and then we have a home. If I think that, let me open up the material application. So let me go back here, copy this thing from here, and then open its documentation. Flutter, yep, and then it will open up the, where is the, yeah, here is the Flutter APIs or the documentation. When I open that one, I can go back to the constructor. And now if you look at that inside this material app, again, everything, every parameter that we want to specify here is not compulsory. There is no which thing, or there's no parameter which is at the start and it is not in the curly brackets. So again, we are talking about the parameters. So we have specified some parameters here. For example, theme, maybe I can just do that. I can do remove the title as well. And again, if I just open up my application, it still give me the same thing, because we on the in the home parameter, we are giving a scaffold or the widget that we want to display in this application. Okay, is it clear? So we are creating this my app object inside the main, and then After that, because it is a stateless widget, we have to implement the build function. There is no other option that we are not going to implement that build function. So build function is actually build these widgets for us, create these widgets for us in the memory, and then we can specify different properties, background colors, text colors, and so on, and that will change the values. For example, and if I just come down here, let me, no, not this one. I just want to close that editor, close editor. Yes. Yep. So I just want to specify more properties inside the text. So here inside the text, I can also apply certain styles. For example, I put a comma because now I am giving us, I am actually assigning a value, style value inside this text widget. I'm changing the style property of this one, and that is our text style. So again, this text style is coming from the Flutter library, and then when I enter it, now we need to specify. We can specify, for example, font size. Font size. So I can say I want to have 35.0. Look at that. The text size has increased. If I say that I want to change the color of the, again, I say colors dot white. You can see that the color has changed. So I am specifying these properties inside the constructor of text style and then assigning that value to the style of this text widget and automatically to apply on this. So if you look at that, everything is a constructor, is a class which is already being built inside the material, and we can use those, we can create those classes, specify the values of different properties, and we can change our widget. Any questions so far? No questions, I suppose?
Doctor,
Yes.
how can we make the text on the center or the position?
Text on, I mean, right now I just put in the scaffold, I put the title, I mean the bar, the application bar, which is right on the top. Okay. We didn't talk about the body yet.
Okay.
Okay. So when we put something in the body, so look at that. This is our scaffold. Yeah. And this is our application bar closing. Inside the application bar, we have app bar property. We give it, we create the application bar, and we put some background color and the title value, and then all done. So now if I say body, inside the body, again, I need to give a widget here. So we have a widget called center. Okay. And then again, if you look at that, I'm just creating that widget center. And if I save it, everything, and it say that you don't need to provide me anything. Okay. I mean, the center does not require any parameter to be set, any parameter value to be set. But we want to create a child widget. We want to show here. Again, if I say text, I want to show a text here. For example, center text. And when I save it, you can see that in the center of that specific body after the application bar till the bottom of the page, we have this body. And then inside the body, I am putting a center widget. Again, this is a layout widget, which organize the elements, the visual element, which is a text, which is visible to the user, and it organize that in the center of the screen. Is it clear? Make sense?
Yes, but what about the app bar? How can we make it centered?
Now, you want to make this application bar here?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Application bar is always on the top, either on one side, either on the.
It should be in the center, not on the left.
Okay, you want that this first page in the center. Okay, yeah. I think that is a center title. We have a property called center title, and then we can say it is true. Assign the value true. By default, the value is false. When I do that and save it, our text inside the application bar comes in the center of the application bar. Okay, so we have this property center title. So we want to present that title in the center of the application bar. Okay, and if we can also say, for example, in the application bar, so we have specified the property of the center title, background color. We have a title. We can also put another like leading, not leading, leading. You know. So when I say leading, I can give an icon, and then inside I need to provide the icons dot menu. And when I do that, you can see that I can see the icon here as well. So of course, right now I'm not, I cannot interact with it because I just display an icon. If I want to interact with it, then I need to put that icon inside inside the other thing, and then, for example, touch detector. Okay, so is it clear so far? Any questions? We put the title, and then we can also put some leading, what you can say that. The other one is the trailing, you know. Okay, if I don't remember what I can do, I can go to the application bar, and then I can look at the constructor. So where are the leading and the actions, and how we can show the actions at the end? Do we have the let me go back to the slides. We have this, we have navigation bar, application bar, we have a leading, we have a trailing icons. Okay, so we can show that. Yeah. So let me see if I can see Control F, trailing. So it does not give me any trailing action, but I think we need to specify the actions. It is a list of widgets that we need to provide over there. Okay. So, but we can, I mean, we can show those things as well if we wanted to. But right now we need to see that. So we have the trailing leading icon. We also have a text that we want to display here. And then the other thing is, it is not necessary that we always display this thing. This is a text here. So if I just try to make remove that text from the title, and I don't want to leading, there's nothing over there. So I just put a column. Inside the column, I need to specify its children, and I specify this children, and definitely I don't want to specify the size to, maybe I say 25, and then I put one more text, after this, and then here it is like subheading or subtitle. I just put subtitle and try to make that size to 10, and then do that. So now you can see that. Rather than show the text, I am showing a column. Column mean it is a layout widget which organize its children into a vertical direction. So we have first text, which is show the first page on the top, and then the next text, which is a subtitle, it is coming at the bottom of that. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger so that we can see that. So we have a title and we have a subtitle. Okay, so we can show something like this, and then you can say that why it is coming in the, it is always coming in the center. So what we can do, I mean, we can also have inside the, not inside the children, inside the column, we also have some alignments. So we can say the main axis alignment, and then I say main axis alignment dot start. When I do that and save it, nothing is happening right now, but I think that we can make these things. We can make this subtitle to come here in the start of this one, but definitely it is right now. But we can do some other things as well, but we will see. Is it clear? So now, if you look at this class, which is the first page, I say stateless. Stateless mean that we cannot have the data inside this class which can change later on, because stateless widget is always something once we have created inside this one here. Once we have created it, It is not going to change at all. It will remain the same. If you want to change the value, it will be rebuilt and then it will be displayed on the screen. So if I just go back here, of course, this is a class and we can define the variables here. For example, I define a string variable title. And if you look at that, cannot define a constant constructor for the class, that is non-final field, so we cannot do that. So it is saying that we cannot do something like this. Again, still it is giving me the error. I mean, we cannot have that constant. Okay, I can do that, no problem. But the point is non-nullable instance of the title must be initialized. I need to give the value. So we can say that I have a final value, but once I have this final, let me make it constant as well, and here I make it constant as well. And then what I can do, I can say this is my final variable. Once I need, first time when we are creating the object of this class, I need to assign some value to this one. Okay, and then how I can fix the problem? Because I need to specify this value at the create time. It means I need to I need to get a value inside the constructor of the class and assign that value to the title. So here I come inside the curly brackets and then I say required. I need a required parameter. Whenever we want to create the object of this first page, I need to provide a required and say this dot title. And now, if I now this problem is over. In this class, everything is perfect. There is no problem. But in the other class, we have some problem. It say that you need to provide me a title. So I say title, and then I give the title. For example, I say first page demo. And when I do that, look, everything is perfect. I mean, if I just refresh my page here, I mean, all the problems gone. There's nothing. But we are not using it. We are not using that value anywhere. So what I can do, rather than I show this text here, this text as a, so I can say that whatever the title is coming from the material app, I show this here. So when I do that, the first demo, page demo. Is it all good? Do you understand?
All good, then.
So stateless widget cannot have anything inside. Stateless widget is a class. Of course, it is a class which we are defining, and it becomes the child of the stateless widget, number one thing. And the other thing is we always need to implement this build method, what we are going to display, and this will return me a widget. Okay, anything that is inside the material APIs, Scaffold is also a widget. So it type of a widget. So we always return a widget from this method. Number one thing. And then we cannot have any data part or the variables which can change later on. So we cannot have that inside a stateless widget. It means once it is created, we are not allowed to change any property, any variable inside this widget. Is it clear? So that is a stateless widget. And if you look at the example, the sample code that is been created, here it creates two classes. One is the my home page, which is a stateful widget. Child of a stateful widget, and then it will also create a state. So we will talk this thing later on. But right now, we understand that we can create a stateless widget, whose values, once it is created, we cannot change anything inside, any variable, anything, we cannot change it. So that is a stateless widget. Any questions? No? So I think we are almost at the end of our lecture. So that is the lecture for today. Thank you very much.